siblings.
Yeah, but Suba the Irkata. Because they added a name to my wife.
It's only appearance of what with money, giving money, no? I don't know. I mean,
Tanoim is really things like this. The Gemara says, "Man Rav Mangid Aman de Mekadosh Bebiyah." He would give malchus for that.
Yeah.
And in general, the Gemara says that a Mekadosh, to be Mekadosh Belo Shiduchi is like a biyaz nus. It has to be. That's what Chassam Sofer says, that to go to L'chaim.
That's why you have it so by me.
Suv is written as part of the wedding ceremony. So the original thing was that they made the Tanoim in the time of the L'chaim. In later generations, they stopped doing that just in case they break the shidduch. So then there's already
stop, but the Litvish still do.
There's some that
they still do. They make a Tanoim, and then a few months later, it's the Chassan.
By the modern crowd, I'm just saying, like my sisters and my brother,
they don't make Tanoim.
I don't remember.
That's why I don't do engagement rings.
The day of the Chassan that we make.
That's why I don't do engagement rings.
I think there's a thing with the mothers break a plate.
Right.
That's not right.
That's the Tanoim.
So when Chabad, they make the Tanoim and they write the Ksuva right before they break the plate. So really, the Tanoim is if the Tanoim is really, it's a the Tanoim, it doesn't really mean much, because if you made a deal,
I never actually read it.
So let's go through it. Let's go through it. The Tanoim goes like this: Eila Rosh Prokim. Deze Sheichen Schrokim Shenidru v'Husnu min Hanishne Tzdodim Dainam Tzadech Danichbad v'Mefursim v'Chulu v'Chulu. So tomorrow the wedding is going to be. It will be Rav Achosed, Reb Shmuel Ber Mordechai Tzvi Sheyichya, Ha'omed Metzad Bnei Achosed, David Yosef Sheyichya, Metzad Hasheni Nichbad v'Mefursim v'Chulu v'Chulu. It's going to be the other tzad. The Chvesa's name is Zoyer Eitz Chaim Getzel. Ha'omed Metzad Akala Mololo Elishem. Reishis Dov. Harei Achosen Hanal Yisrael Mazel Tov Zakala Hanal. Lechupa v'Kiddushin Kelash Moshe v'Yisrael Val Yavrichu Val Yalimu Lo Zem Yizu V'Lo Yizu Mizeh. The deal is that they make a contract that they're going to get married. When? We'll talk about this in a minute. V'Yisrael Techu B'nei Chesem V'Shava V'Shava V'Yadura B'neim B'Ava V'Chiba Koira Koram. That everything will be 50-50 among them, and they will love each other. So then we go. It's like a generic thing. We're not saying how much you're giving. He's saying, I'm going to give like the rich people, like the rich folk. I'm giving matonas.
Well, the Ksuba has a phrase,
oh, that we'll get in a minute. This is a different. This is the father of the chos and the father of the kala obligate to give.
This
gifts.
is also a much later thing, right?
Yeah.
What? From what?
Tanoim. This lashon of the Tanoim is based on the lashon of Tanoim that was done. Yeah. And then we talk about the Kala's side. He says the same things. The father, the chos, and the father, the Kala both obligate to give gifts. This lashon came from the Tzemach Tzedek. This ksuva was this ksuva was written. The two mechutanim were his sons. The two sons made a chasna between a son and a daughter. So he was there when they wrote the ksuva. He said they should write that it's going to be the chasna will be in Yerushalayim. If Chas v'Shalom Mashiach doesn't come, then we'll make it in Russia. Rav Chazan Shamesh Klizema L'Chatzoin. Everything will be 50-50. The expenses. If they paid it off, the Chazan, I guess those days they paid the Chazan for singing by the Chasna.
What did the Shamish do?
It's a good question. I don't know. I guess the shamash. Today the caterer takes care of the candles and the this and that. I guess those days they used to make it in the shul, right? So the shamash.
Maybe shamash means a caterer.
Nah.
Like it's a Gemara, the waiters.
Nah, I think he means the shamash in the shul.
Okay.
The shamash probably put up the chuppah, made sure the wine. Yeah. Kli zemer for the band, chatzoin, mitzvah mutzas for bed, and the sheets that are on the bed, seifim and the didim for the kala, the shade, the tichels and the talis, kittel kenog that they have to kenog give. They have the parents obligated. Umachmas chulu. What's this word machmas chulu mean? So there used to be ksuvas that was more explicit. Brought in Shulchan Aruch, and even there's a takonas shum. There were 3 keilas called Shapaida, Vermeise, and Magensa. Right. These 3 kehilas had many couples. One of the takonas was in those days Nebuch, people died young sometimes, and then the father of the chosn of the kala would give a whole ton of gifts, and the spouse died after a few months. So and people were tight on money. So he gave his daughter-in-law a ring and a diamond ring and a this and a that and the other, and Nebuch 3 months later she died without any children. So the father-in-law said, I'd like to have my stuff back.
Yeah.
Or the other way, so there was a takona shum that if chas v'shalom, one of the couple passes away within a year and without children, so all the gifts go back.
On both sides?
On both sides, everything goes back. Father, chos and the kal, everything goes back.
What did you say before, how much a year?
If chas v'shalom, one spouse dies within a year and no children.
But if it's after a year?
After a year, that's it. And or even within a year, if there's a child involved,
she gets pregnant.
So there's a exactly. So
it's with a logic.
Right. But it's logic, but it's only a takona of 3 keilas.
Yeah.
So you have to write it in. You can't take it for granted.
Yeah.
But people for mazel tov, they don't want to write it specifically.
Yeah, it's not nice.
So therefore they write machmas chulu.
That means that.
Machmas, if there is
the unspeakable.
Right, the unspeakable machmas, if something is going to happen, so then there's whatever v'chulu, there's a takona shum, and we're going to abide by the takona shum. That's the machmas chulu. Then you write there's an order of kabbalah from the chos and order of kabbalah from the kala. That means that if the side of the chos and the kala they don't step up to the plate and give the money or gifts, so the order of kabbalah has to give it. Now, if the chos and kala receive things from the order of kabbalah, so eventually the chosin of the father chosin of the kala has to reimburse the order of kabbalah. But what's the next word? The
grandmas.
Next word?
Verenina.
No, it's this word is a trick. It's really the kanena. Right, because you fill out the star the night before. But how could you have how could you write up a star and it's all false? Nothing happened. The rabbi writes up a day before the star. It's nothing happened yet, and he already wrote it up. This is all Baba Mises. You wrote. I already wrote up the yeah.
But you don't fill it out.
Oh, so that's why the minig Yisrael is to leave out the kuf of the kanena. So tomorrow, when the Masada Kiddushin comes, so he designate 2 Edom, and the Edom will make a kinyan with the Chosin, a kinyan with the Kala, a kinyan with the Machutin, a kinyan with the other Machutin, a kinyan with the other Kabbalah, 6 kinyanim you make. After everything is made, the Rav takes a pen and he writes the kuf.
Wow.
Otherwise it's a shtar mukdam, it's a baba mais.
That's why you have to get smeaker. We don't know this because we didn't get smeaker.
Right, so that's a trick. Right, that's the rabbi's trick. The kanena min atzdodim, we already did the kinyan from both sides of min arevim akablon. You understand? If you wrote it up already before, so you lied. You wrote up that you already did a kinyan, but it's not true. You didn't do the kinyan yet.
So you do it, you fill in
after
the
you fill in the kuf.
and you finish it.
Right. So you're ready. The kaneina min atzdodim from both mechutonim and arevim makablonim umin achosim mekala now. I'll call him the kosim befurish lil b'monad choshem eknayim bei with a bag that's kosher to make a kinyan, because the in Shulchan Aruch and Neve'ez Samakala goes through the kinyan chalipin comes from the pasuk in Rus. V'zois lefnim b'Yisrael b'shalav ish na'aloi, right? So there's a concept of kinyan chalipin, right? If you're going to sell me, you're going to sell me a boat full of merchandise, but the boat is now is in the ocean. So I give you my shoe, or I give you my gartel. It has to be a kosher keli. It doesn't even have to be a sheva pruta. It has to be choshuv, like a shoe or a gartel, and it also has to be a beged. If it's a beged, it's at least that has a shame beged. Three etzbahs and 3 etzbahs, which is like. Yeah, right. Because if it can't even be makabel tumah, well, how do you call it a beged? So, or it has to be, if it's a keli, it has to be a choshev keli. Some people use a pen. So if it's not a plastic pen.
Well, a sudder meant a handkerchief.
A handkerchief.
Right? So that was considered.
Those days, people had in their pockets handkerchiefs.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Today, who has a handkerchief?
Yeah,
Now, the thing is, in a lot of weddings, they have fancy napkins on the table, which are made out of cloth. But that doesn't belong to you. You take it, you're a ganav. So the pashtus, the caterer doesn't care, but it's not yours.
Yeah, you want to do it. You're making Garakinya. You want to have a shiloh on it.
You don't want to shiloh on it. So the best thing to do, what I do is that
that's what I have the plate. That's what
right before the plate.
Oh.
This you do before the plate. And what happens is that what I do is I take with me a good gartel. These gartels are probably kosher. But it doesn't have 3 etzbahs and 3 etzbahs. The shoelace gartel. So I take in my pocket a good gartel, a regular gartel, which has 3 etzbahs and 3 etzbahs, and I stuff it in my pocket.
Yeah.
And this way I have it. I give it to the Edom, and then the Edom have it. So the Edom becomes. I give it as a kinyan to the Edom, belongs to the Edom.
Yeah.
And that's wrote in Shulchan Aruch Simon Samachalef and Nebuchadnezzar. The minig is, but every kinyan. I'm sorry, in Oyer Chaim, Simon Kuf Tzadik Hey, that by every kinyan, the Edom take their beged and they give it to the makna. So the 2 Edom take the gartel, becomes theirs, and then they give it to the chosin, he picks it up. Then they give it to the kala, she picks it up. Then they give it to mechutin A and mechutin B and Kabbalah A.
That's what the kinyan.
Right.
And what happens with it in the end? They don't get it back. I mean, you
then
it to them
right, and they give it b'matona gemura to the chosin and the kala and then the olive and the other olive, and everyone gives it back b'matona gemura. Everyone gives it back b'matona gemura.
Okay. But I mean, at the end, who takes it home?
I take it home.
Back to his pocket. Into his pocket. Goes back to his pocket.
Okay. I'm trying to understand.
So that's basically it, and then you fill out the day, and so with Tanoim, it's as you see there is. So you have to make basically you have to get the Edom there. You make 6 kinyanim.
Doesn't say anything about giving money or anything.
It says everything is kanol. That if later say the father or the kala.
It says matonis.
Matonis kanol, right? So say the chosin never gets a kittel. Yeah. Today it's a joke. What does a kittel cost? $20. Well, a kittel was a big thing. Yeah. Talis. Yeah. My wife, the grandfather, her Zaidi, who lived in the Bronx, he had his talis. To the last day, he wanted to be buried with the talis that he got from his father-in-law, in Krakow, by his chasana in 1930. He still had his talis.
Wow. Maybe he had another one for Shabbos. Last, if he would have worn it every day from 1930, I mean, it wouldn't be there. Full of fun.
Yeah. But he was very happy, and he told me, "I want you to, remember, he wanted to be buried in that talis."
Wow.
So even today, what
make it possible?
Okay, so but even today, if a chosin, it's after the wedding, and he didn't get his talis. he could take this. He takes this and he goes to the Bezdin, and the Bezdin. He wants his talis. He'll get his talis. He'll get his talis. Now, as I said, why do we make the Tanoim? Really, it's more a thing. It's a shaila of kedusha, just like the Gemara says that Rav would give malchus to the, and the Gemara says you have to make a shidduch. What is a shidduch? We make a l'chaim. Why do we make a l'chaim?
The Takas does that.
The Chassam Sofer, Chassam Sofer says that if you go to l'chaim, it's considered a sudas mitzvah. Why? Because that has to do with the kedusha of Klal Yisrael. If he didn't meet a girl, up. It's like it looks like his nose.
Shows balabatish.
Exactly. Shows balabatishka. They got together. They made a masiba. The parents got together. It shows. It's the hepach of znus. It's the very opposite of a society of znus. But a boy and a girl, it shows the kedusha of Am Yisrael. Now turn the page. Now we get to the heavy stuff, which is the ksuba.
Oh, that was the. Oh, this was the.
That was the tanah.
Right.
So the ksuba really there's less kinyanim to make because the ksuba is obligations from the husband to the wife, from the chassan to the kala.
The ksuba is from the Gemara, right?
Ksuba is the Gemara. The Gemara says a machloikis, and the nusach is basically from the Gemara. There are a few words here and there, but it's basically from the Gemara.
I once heard someone once said that I think that Rav Moshe made a nusach out of ksuba. I like to make it like meaningless, or like to take the teeth out of it, like on purpose. Instead, I just heard someone say.
I know there is a nusach, but this is a little different than Rav Moshe's nusach. I have at home. The
nusach. See the Yemenite nusach. Against the Megillah. Whoa.
I have it at home.
It's a little different.
A little different, yeah.
But basically, this is from the Gemara. This is an ancient thing. And the Gemara is machloikis if it's the Reisa or the Rabbonon. Machloikis, the consensus is that really a ksuba is the Rabbonon. And even though we're going to see in the ksuba it says that it's Medir Reisa, he's going to give kesef zuzi Medir Reisa. So the Maram Mintz answers that it doesn't mean that the obligation is the Reisa. There was two types of coins those days. It was Kesef Medina and Kesef Tzuri. Kesef Tzuri was pure gold, pure silver. Kesef Medina was Nechoshis mixed with It's interesting. I was just with my kids in Eretz Yisrael, and right when you go into the, from the Dung Gate, from the Sharash Bosses, there is the big museum, Davidson Museum for Archaeological Dig. I remember seeing that.
You went through that gate.
I was wondering why.
Because it's Mamish is to go through the old city is a very good thing.
It was very nice when I went booked up all on this tension.
I remember seeing Davidson. I was thinking, is it either a guy? I don't know who gave the vote.
So there, it was interesting that they had a whole explanation. So I took a long tour with the kids, 2 hours, fascinating stuff. They have I saw it separately. There was a stone there that fell down from the time of the Churban. That's still sitting there in the bottom. That was the top stone in the corner of the Harabais, the corner of the Koisel Amarovi and Koisel Droimi. And inside, chiseled into huge stones. It's like from the floor till here. In that stone, the original stone from Bayesheni, and there is in the stone is carved in a podium. And on there, carved inside, it says, Lebeis HaTakiyah. This is where the Mishnah says in the second Perek of Shabbos that from the Harabayas they would stand and blow with the shofar to tell them it's Shabbos. And so they took off that piece of Lebeis HaTakiyah and they put it in the Israeli museum, which I saw it there. It was fascinating. And they did a replica of that. But the actual stone is still sitting there. They have other very interesting things. And one of the things, they have booths there. No steps. There were steps going up to the Harabayas. So they under the steps there were like 3-4 booths, and one of them was like a shulchani. They show you these things in the ground like for a table. And there was one of the things that they had was that people would come and they would change their money. So they explained, which was fascinating. They said that people would change their money because in the Chazal only wanted to use matbei atzuri because that was clean. That over there, the kesef was clean. The kesef Medina was, which was the Romans used. Those were mixed with nechoshes. So the Maram Min says that even though, so the Beis Yosef says you have to take out the word Mederaisa. Beis Yosef, as far as the Ksuvas doesn't say the word Mederaisa, because we hold that Ksuvas is really Derabonon. But the Maram Min says no. What it means is that the value of the Ksuva of the 200 zuz is not the phony baloney coins, the Kesef Medina, but it's Kesef Tzuri, which is pure, which is obviously more money. That's a pshat. That's a pshat. Deiraisa. So let's read quickly over here the Ksuva. So we say it's tomorrow, B'shlishi B'Shabbos, Shiva Sayyim, Achoy Deshelo, Shnas Chamesh Shalalofen Shvamez, V'Shivim V'Chomesh, L'Bri Yisraelim, L'Min Yishan Amoynim Kan. If it's here, if it's in Brooklyn, you'd write Brooklyn, Marsov, Brooklyn, Medinas, New York. This is the Chasna tomorrow is going to be, I don't know where it's exactly. It's in Florida, so I have to look up if it's Miami or if it's so maybe I'll write Marsov, Miami Beach, Medinas, Florida. I'm not sure exactly to figure that one out. Okay. Eich, she. She writes Shehachosen, or maybe you don't write a Chosen yet because he's not a Chosen yet. So you write there Shaharav, Reb David Yosef, Ben Shmuel Sheikh, Amr Lalad Absulta, Lisheva Pnima, Bas, whatever, Reb Zorach, whatever his name is, Zoyar Eitzchayim, Sheikh, heavily into. Kedas Moshe Yisrael, be my wife, Kedas Moshe Yisrael. Vano and I obligate myself. Eflach ve'oiker ve'ezen, I will work, I'll take a job. I'm not going to be a lady girl. V'oikir, I will respect you. V'ezen, I will feed you. V'afarnes, I'm take care of all your parnasa. Yisichi lichi to you. Ki hilchas guvrin yodoim, like the Jewish men. The folchin, omoikirim, v'zonim, afarnes, and that they work and respect and feed and sustain their wives. Bekushta. What does it mean bekushta?
Emes. No, kushta is emes.
Kushta doesn't only mean emes, but it means that it could be a person supports his wife with kaptzonos. How much bread do you need? He weighs it. How many grams of bread? Bekushta. He's going to do it like a yid, which does it berachvus, not bekamtzonos. He's going to support his wife berachvus. V'yivna lechi, and he's going to give her. Moyar besulaichi. This is by the way, this is a ksuba for besula. Obviously, if she's not a besula, the amount of money changes. Kasav zuzi mosan. I'm going to give you 200 zuz. The chazir lichem mederaisa, which comes to you mederaisa. Again, some Rishonim say, so it means we paskin the ksuba is deraisa, but really we paskin the ksuba is derabono. And why did they want to make a takana for ksuba? Because they didn't want men to get divorced easily. He's going to know that if he gets divorced, she's going to come to Bezdin to bring a ksuba, and he's going to get knock in the cup. Whatever a ksuba today is value depends on what the value of whatever the value of silver is. That's what the value of a ksuba is.
So today, I think it would probably be a relatively small sum.
No, it's in the thousands.
You know, the Yemenites put in dollars. The Yemenites have a long they put $50,000. I was by
that's Tosfos Ksuba.
That's because that's what Tosfos Ksuba.
My brother also.
That's Tosfos Ksuba. So now he continues. Umel and the mezoinus and the ksus, and this is shape ksus ve'oina. Everything that you need with the ksus. And he's going to have with her derech eretz, which is the chiyuv of oina. He's going to do all the three chiyuvim that the Torah says. And then we say tzvias maras, whatever the kala's name is, besulta dava heveleli, she agreed to be his wife. And then we say like this: if she's coming from her father's house, and then if she's a Yosayim or she's a Noy, then you write something else. So So what she's bringing in the dunya. What does it mean she brings in the dunya? A girl comes to the marriage. Sometimes she has stuff. She has money in her bank account. She has. So now everything becomes his. What if they get divorced? She wants her money back. That's called nedunya. So there's a concept of nichsei tzoim barzel. Tzoim barzel means that this is made out of barzel. Barzel, the wood rots, things rot, but barzel never gets ruined. So the Gemara says that there is a concept of nichsei maloig and nichsei tzoim barzel. What's tzoim barzel? That she brings in a certain amount of nechosim and they estimate what it is worth, and they say it's worth $10,000. So that's it. This turns into, it doesn't matter if they all die, all those sheep die, and they get married, they divorce 10 years later, he has to give her the $10,000. How about if they get very fat and he sells them and he makes $100,000? Still worth to her $10,000. It's barzel. It's to her, it's metal. They put a number of dollars for all this rechush that she brings in, and if they get divorced, that's what she takes back. Whatever it is. If it's things from the deed or for the bed. He accepted all this, and you can put a dollar amount to it. How much? Now, Zekukim is a certain amount of dollar, whatever coins that was in Poland a few hundred years ago. Now, this is our minute to write. B'derech klal, a girl gets married today, she's not coming in with, if a from girl is 18 years old, 19 years old, she has but that's minhag Yisrael, but even if she comes penniless, the chshivas for the kala, that we write ki'ilu, he accepts it upon himself. So even if she brought a nickel into the machnish tois, he accepted upon himself ki'ilu. He looked over the whole shuma, and it's worth 100 zekukim kesef. So now we covered the ksuba and the nedunya. The third part of the ksuba, there is the ksuba, the nedunya, and the tesefes ksuba. He said, you know what? I want to be a nice guy. Everything you brought in is worth 100 kesef. I give you another 100 kesef. Make believe you brought in 200 kesef.
So in other words, the classic, the 200 sus, the ksuba of a ksuba, is really including 100 that she brought?
No, this is 400 altogether. There is she gets the 200 kesef, which is not zekukim, which is the real. Those are coins that are pure coins.
Yeah.
And then she gets 200 coins. It's two different. The value of the first 200 coins and the second 200 coins are different value, different amount of silver. The zekukim, I think, are much more valuable. And this is what the Chosin said. Achrei is stark sufta the responsibility of the ksuba. Nedunya dain, the nedunya, which is the money she brought in. The tesefta do and the tesefta is three parts again. There's the ksufta, the nedunya, the tesefta. Kabbalah Salai, accept upon myself responsibility to pay it up. Yartai, and on the mayorshim, v'spar and kol shvar and rag nechisim v'kanonian the isli tchois kol shemaya. Everything is obligated to pay this debt. The kanoi dosel all the mik the nichsen the less nislon achrais kulam ye achraim barban lefraim and unshtag ksufta do nedunya zem with tesefta do. The Rambam writes that very wise people made this part of the ksuva. It used to be if a person, Rav Shimon Meshatach in his days, women didn't want to get married. People used to write ksuvas, but then, they didn't pay it. So women didn't want to get married. So he made a takona Shimon Meshatach that she could collect. She brings the ksuva to Bezin and they take away his karka. What happened later? In those days, every person had karka. There wasn't a Jew that didn't have karka. Later generations, people started to do business, not karka. There's plenty of people today that rent an apartment building. They don't own any karka. So again, women were nervous. So the Rambam says that very wise people came up with the thing that all the nechosim are meshubet. So if he owns a business, he owns a car, whatever he owns a shirt, a jacket, everything is responsible to pay up the ksuba. Even the jacket on my back. And this responsibility of the ksuv, number one, the ksuv and the dunya dem it's sefta do kibel lov chasam the nan khem kol shtor ksuv sefta neged of nice soul asuin ketika khamein the loka smachta loka shafta shtore. And this is not a joke, this is not a smachta, it's not a teufus, this is serious stuff. What's the next word? The Veranina. Again,
it's supposed to be a kuf.
It's supposed to be a kuf. Right here, the kanena mina chos, but it's not true. The rabbi wrote it up the night before. Again, so the trick is you don't write the kuf. So you make the kinyan. So, right, it's not a shtar yet. So it's a teufus only. It's not a shtar. There's a teufus and a teufus on the shtar. So first, the Rav gives a gartel to the whatever he gives. I give a gartel to the Edom. The Edom make a kinyan with the chosn and a minyan with the kala. And then
You put it
a person not allowed to, then the Edom read the whole shtar. And then you put in the kuf. So we already did the kinyan. It's true. The kanena mean a chosn denan lamaras sultada. Chol mat the kosher furish liil. The mon of the kosher lechnaiba with a keli which is kosher to make a kinyan. And we add 3 words at the end of every shtar. Hakol shar v'kayim. Why? Because we're scared the person might write things after the shtar, add things. Later she could take a pen and add. He owes me the Brooklyn Bridge. So at the end of every kosher shtar, the minig Yisrael is to write Hakol shar v'kayim. So after the word kayim, anything we know is phony baloney.
Except for the Eidah.
Right, the Eid have to sign as close as possible, and they write the name and the father's name, and then they write the word Eid, and that's it.
Years ago, they never had printed. They usually write.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem for copy machines.
Today,
We love the Heilige Nome for copy machines.
What do you mean? I haven't printed in it probably starts.
No, I mean this Rabbi. This could be Rabbi Adler, the Osnacher.
Yeah, but why should I pay a dime? I paid for this. I put into my copy machine today,
But I'm saying
and I made
before
4.
it was copy machines.
I know, but I'm telling you, it's even cheaper. I put it today. I have nice fancy paper, different color for the ksuva and a different for the tanoim.
Yeah.
I put in 4 pieces of paper of each. Those papers cost like a half a penny each. So for
That's
4
a lot of
pennies.
money, yeah.
No,
I know.
I know the Osnacher Rabbi Adler used to write for all his grandchildren. He himself wrote the whole ksuva by Yad. You know what I mean? But there's different shikras also of the
Svardim
way.
and Ashkenazim do differently.
I know the
within this-
Yemenites have
within-
a manga Megillah and they put in the real money, not zuzim or like we do.
Well,
I mean, they write dollars.
They write
or
dollars.
right. So then it's fixed. So the way we write it, it ends up being that the real value of the ksuva changes. It changes at the time of the. If they're going
We
to
do it the way we did it with the way
Right.
Yes, Svardim, Ashkenazim, and also the Yemenites are very long. The whole, they're a long Megillah they have. And I was by a wedding like that. He was Ashkenaz, she was a Yemenite, and they got divorced. I wonder if he paid her the $50,000.
They shall help him that the Rabbi Shalom should look at the ksuva that he wrote for Klal Yisrael.
Amen.
So bring in the Geulah Shleima.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay.